Awesome. Right, here we go on to the blue game.
Part of team Five Eyes Classified. We have originated from a larger team called United Archons Prime. This is the decider game. I'm using a deck called Marks the Herald of Hyper Harbor. It's a Logos Shadows Star Alliance mass mutation deck. It kind of just does a little bit of a lot of things. It's quick. It gains amber fast. It likes to clear boards that aren't mass mutation. I would like to say I have tested against my opponent, but I have not because I have been very busy with other things. But yeah, haven't even looked at my opponent's deck, unfortunately. But yeah, this has got a cool Maverick and Furnace. From experience, from most games I've played with it, I'll go through the deck once just to get the deck cycled, and then as I'm getting to the deck a second time, I usually am holding off all my Shadows guys, and then can essentially turn the game from they're in check to me being to being on no amber to me being on check and possibly win the game. Yeah, I wish it was Safe House. If it was Safe House, this deck would just be like, oh my goodness, I'd love this so much. It's my only Z-Force Agent deck, so that's kind of cool. Well, they just beat Ugluck in the KFPL this week, and so my smack talk is more to Ugluck because if I beat Steel, I can maybe beat Ugluck now. No.
Okay, moving to the blue matchup here.
It's like for a moment I just thought we were just doing our typical like deck eval. Like forgot this had like any other context. Talking about decks.
Yeah, no, it's easy to nerd out about these things and then like forget where we are right now. All right, so moving quickly to I'll let you cover the marks first here.
Sure.
For Five Eyes Classified.
The Herald of Hyper Harbor. Again, these like alliterations are kind of interesting. Anyways, so this is an interesting deck, and we kind of talked about it before the stream. We were talking about the removal in each house being maybe kind of really big, but I'll go house by house first. So, logos, I'm just seeing tons of great speed, auto encoder, howling pit, sloppy lab work, double infomorph to put a bunch of draws and Cronus, put a bunch of draws throughout the deck. So I think, yeah, all the enhancements are draw enhancements. The deck is just going to be super fast, which is just great. Because you're going to hit all these other things much more quickly. Now, the Shadows is interesting with the double dark wave, lights out, look over there. It's like that little bit of Shadows removal that we saw in the other deck as well. Obviously, also some great stealing with Bonifing, and just in case you needed more Amber control, a Maverick and Furnace, because why not?
You also have the safe place with the Boma things, which is just brutal.
Oh sure, yeah,
and the Furnace.
Right, and like in a game with no artifact control on either side, that's pretty great. Safe place has been kind of like an MVP in a lot of games actually. Mm-hmm. So Star Alliance, we sort of said it before the stream. The double subdue is just fantastic. So it's a Z-Force agent deck with plenty of upgrades. In fact, besides the regular 3 Z particle to give it detention coil, Secure, Droid, Explorer can all be upgrades, and we have an away team to pop right next to it. And it's kind of an interesting Star Alliance in that there's only 3. I mean, there's anywhere from 3 to 5 creatures, but so many upgrades. Obviously, you're not going to play the detention coil on your own stuff, but you might. Who knows? If you're just you're fighting anyways or reaping anyways or whatever your game plan looks like. But it's so many upgrades. It's pretty wild. I kind of love it.
Yeah, the detention coil. If you actually get that Z-Force agent out, you're not going to want it on it, obviously, because you want to
because it's ability
ram it into things.
Yeah,
but well, I mean, yeah, I'll move into the blue deck for KUTE here, which I believe is piloted by SCS Steel. And we have. Okay, so Aurora's deck was about kind of like maxing out this very, very fast library access combo. Obviously, this deck is about the exact opposite, is kind of subtracting that speed from your opponent, right? And I'm just going to start with the Dis House because it's centralized around it. So we've got double Control the Weak, which is always really nice, with an Ember Imp and a Restring Guntus. We've also got a Taunt with the Troubadour. And then we also, moving to the Sanctum for a second, have 2 Protect the Weaks with stuff like Staunch Knight and Protectress, like these kind of like huge bodies. We have the Bulwark to add some armor. So a near ideal setup is that you have the Bulwark out, you get double Protect the Weak on it, and then you stick like a Restring Guntus and an Ember Imp on either side of it, right? Now those 2 armor that you're able to produce there, that's like a very specific scenario where you're able to shape your line correctly, like in kind of an ideal thing. Those 2 armor could be really, really big in this matchup. But before I get there, I'll cover the Brobnar real quick. We've got a board clear with Coward's End, which is always nice. Double Screech Bomb to knock a few Amber off. And then basically just some big bodies here, right? Grenade Snib is going to do the same thing as a Screech Bomb, so you're going to be able to do kind of like minor Amber control, and then the rest is kind of beat them down, Brobnar with a board clear. So basically the story of this deck is I want to stick an Ember Imp and like a Restring Guntus, and then like hit my Control the Weaks and basically make you not play Keyforge. I put my big bodies on the board, you can't remove them, and I just reap while you're just stunned, right? And when we look to your deck and we can move to the specific matchup, the first thing I'm thinking is you have so many answers to that strategy. It's unbelievably frustrating because it's such a solid disruption deck, but I just don't think it can live here.
Yeah, no, I I think that's right. Like it's total speed versus disruption, but it's like speed that depending on how it's played, depending on how early they get encoder, they're just gonna race to those removal cards, and they might not care that you're messing with the board so much because they're just gonna keep wiping it. I do think the double Screech Bombs come in big, and the double Control the Weak. The Control the Weak, I mean, it's not just disruption, right? Like it's a kind of an Amber control card. It's kind of a creature control card to an extent.
Right.
So timing will matter, and I sort of personally tend to lean towards the speed in marks.
Yeah, sure. And but the thing that scares me even more than the straight speed is that I don't have any Amber control, and if you lay down an early encoder, you're just going to be able to stash away cards, and that's going to become a massive problem for me because you're always going to have the answer to a stuck Ember Imp or a Restring Guntus. You're going to be essentially undisrupted as long as you can stash cards.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So the only other thing that I can think of, so like we're pretty 100%, not 100% on this matchup. Keyforge is always Keyforge, but we're pretty unanimous as far as the way we think that this will go. My question to you, therefore, if you think that you have a favorable matchup here with Marks, do you play the Howling Pit?
That's a really good question, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. Maybe not, right? Because I mean, you already have the advantage, and do you need to like max out your hand just to also give them a little bit more speed? Their speed is so bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, in comparison here, yeah, especially like obviously, yeah, they're not trying to burn up the road here.
Right.
Yeah, so I think my thought was that you don't play it because you have the draw enhancements. I'd be really curious to watch that, and we'll cut to that clip now.
Right, here we go again.
Okay, this time they're correct.
Yay. So we have Sydney still at the top versus Action Pirate from Australia.
Francis Economist is a great turn 1 play because it gives you options of Reap or Giving Amber. But Punch is going to quickly do that, and a Screech Bomb first turn gives you nice options. Rescuing Gunters could do some serious damage here. the loss of the red alert, but we see 2 upgrades come down onto the secure droid, making it a big 7-power creature that needs to be dealt with. But Lady Maxine is going to give that a nice little stun, and then Lord Goliath is going to set up for the extra destruction. But Lights Out is going to make quick work of those guys.
I mean, how many Lights Outs were in this deck? Did we check? Is it just the one or is it multiple?
Perhaps we should have been paying a bit more attention rather than chatting about the next couple of rounds.
Yep.
Playing Lights Out before the look over there. So the look over there has to be done on the secure droid. Then we see Subtle Outlook come down, which discards Lady Maxina, and then Ransack for it doesn't really do anything because the Amber was already gone. But this Rescuing Guntus onto Guardian Demon healing, get rid of it. Shula steals 1. Hand of this won't do anything, so probably discard. Oh no, holds and a Rescue goes into Star Alliance. Only 1 card of Star Alliance in hand, so there is great opportunity here for Anxious Pirates to get rid of that Star Alliance. 2 Star Alliance cards in hand now. Goes back into this. Fights Secure Droid, fights the Kronos, reaps. Is it just going to be a pass here? It's just a pass. Could have gone reap, True Brew to protect the Rescuing Guntus, but claiming the board seems really good. Discards Boniffing, goes for his archive, going for the archiving power. Anxious Pirates did say in his chat that basically getting through the deck the first time is key, setting up a huge turn later in the game. And it seems to be the plan going on here.
Definitely.
Well, I protect the Mantle of Zealot on the Guardian Demon. So this means that he's going to be able to heal for 2 every single turn. And half of Anxious Pirate's hand is dead. But there we see the archiving making a huge Logos turn here.
Well,
Coswood gets the archive. There's Howling Pit, was immediately played. And Sloppy Lubbock is extra value here because the auto encoder gets to archive from the discard. So 4 of the 7 cards in hand cannot be played. Jupiter making a point that Rescuing Guntus against Mass Mutation isn't the best, which kind of makes sense. There's a lot more house cheating, a lot more removal aspects. There's the 2 brew, and Screech Bomb takes Anxious Pirate off check. How are you feeling about this matchup so far, Chris?
I'm just looking at the fact that half his hand is in his disc, not half his hand. He's got through all the way through his deck, and no one's forged a key yet.
Yeah, no, but it is only turn 7, which again, in turn 7 by with no keys is quite cool. Poison Wave, although it was protected, the Rescuing Guntus is down. But look at this Grobnar hand SCS has got. Goes for Reap. Heals the Guardian Demon to deal 2 damage to Bot Buckton. I'd probably healed the 2 brew, knowing I had the Coward's End in hand. Reaper Bot Buckton plays Kazap. That is a very big play.
So key a piece. Turn 8,
SCS
near enough the same Amber.
Yeah, SCS is still a little bit ahead on Amber.
Oh.
Crump, Headhunter, Valda. Do you hold the Coward's End or do you bin the Coward's End?
That's a good question.
With 4 cards in archive, I'd probably want to hold the Coward's End. But no. Whoa, look at that Star Alliance hand!
Jesus.
Subdue, gets hold, subdue, gets rid of the biggest threats. There's Garcia increasing key cost. Away team, when it's destroyed, we put all the upgrades into the archive. A very good place to hold the Z-Force agents upgrades. Z-Emitter on Garcia at the start of Anxious Pirate's turn. It is just going to keep getting warded. That is a beautiful upgrade. Glorious for you to get 2. Terms of Redress, probably going to put it on the Valda. No, puts it on the Crump. I guess Crump's ability is passive, which means everything that gets chucked into it causes loss of Amber. And there we go. So SCS on check for 6. Did have the options to get rid of it on the Shadow's turn, but Garcia is going to still be able to do work. Thanks for Z-Force. Z-Force agent gains 2 from the upgrade because it gains 2 from the ability because it's got extra upgrades on it. So now Anxious Power on 10. Succubus comes down. Ember Imp comes down. Shadows. And now there's a huge choice here on what the Control of the Week's going to go into. Putting Control of the Week into Logos. There is a Roofstone. Dimension Door, unfortunately, not going to be able to stop SCS getting the key here. But we are going to see the Chronos. We're going to see the place Dimension Door because it's got to drop it along to Archive. The Scouts called the Week going to the Archive. And now SCS both on the exact same amber. Plays Valder. Grenade Stub is a great one to have down here. Drops the Smash. Stuns the Garcia, which is a very interesting choice because Garcia is not really going to be effective until you're getting into check.
Yeah, but it's always good to get it there.
Anxious Pirates is definitely valuing the archiving capability. It's a great, really strong ability. Plays Red Alert. Only at 1 amber, so the Grenade Stub loss here is going to be huge. Goes back up to 3 thanks to the Charette loss. Detention Coil on their own Odd Claw. Reap is only at 5. Goes Sanctum. Glorious View goes up to 6. Play Bulwark, play Staunch Knight, play Protect the Weak, and hope your opponent, even if your opponent stops you here, you've got Control the Weak to force them into a house where they can't really do anything. SCS at 7 doesn't draw any amber control, which means if Anxious Pirates can get to 6, very strong position. Uses safe place to start an amber, but look at the Shadow's hand. Lights out, bounces the Sanctum creatures back. But that's not gonna. The Glorious Fury would be beautiful here. So Otto gets rid of Control the Weak. Boniffing steals 2. Boniffing steals 2.
Jeez.
Dark Wave puts them back into the deck because there's only 5 cards left in the deck. Plays Otto. Well, plays Ransack. Discards Sloppy Lab Work. Discards so he can redraw the deck. And look at that. SCS goes for the concede. Did exactly what Anxious Pirates said it would do in the chat.